Welcome to the Glen Alex Show. Hello, world, and welcome back to the Glen Alex Show. I'm Glen Alex, licensed clinical social worker, the wealth counselor, and author of Living in Total Health, the 2021 Indie Book Award winner for Health and Wellness, and finalist in the Mind, Body, Spirit category. My life's work is about total health, and I am on a mission to help as many people as I can to be joyful, connected, confident, and complete. The life experience we call wealth, W-E-L-L-T-H, which is health plus other riches. And I strongly believe that it is the physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy among us that will right the world's wrongs and make the world a better place for all of us. I plan to be one of those people. I hope you do too. On every episode of the Glen Alex Show, we focus on a different aspect of health, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And I am really excited about this episode because I'm about to learn some things from Dr. Debi Silber about betrayal. So, Dr. Silber, welcome to the Glen Alex Show. Thank you so much for making time. And
thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, you can call me Debbie. Okay. It's actually my 30th year in business. And yes, betrayal is my topic. I don't think anybody says, I think I want to study betrayal. No, you study it because you have to. So I started in health and then mindset and personal development. And then I had my own trauma, and it was a painful betrayal from my family. And a few years later, it happened again. I thought I learned everything I needed to learn. Happened again. This time it was my husband. Anybody who's been through it, you're shocked, you're blindsided, you're devastated. Life as you've known it is no longer. But I got him out of the house and I looked at the two experiences and I said, well, what's similar to these two? Of course, me, but what else? And I realized my boundaries were always getting crossed. I never took my own needs seriously. And I said, something drastic has to change. So here I was, 4 kids, 6 dogs, a thriving business. And I said, I'm going back for a PhD. And I was 50. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, how I'm going to do this. But I just felt so pulled to do it. And it was in transpersonal psychology, the psychology of transformation and human potential. Okay. Because I was changing. I didn't quite understand it. And then it was time to do a study. So I studied betrayal, what holds us back, what helps us heal, and what happens to us physically, mentally, and emotionally when the people closest to us lie, cheat, and deceive. That study led to 3 groundbreaking discoveries, which changed my business, my family, my health, my life.
Okay. Well, congratulations on having the courage to go back to school at 50.
That was crazy. I mean, I hadn't written like those kind of papers in decades. There was a lot to relearn.
I bet with 4 kids and 6 dogs, I mean, managing time is a huge issue for most people.
Yeah, it was really nuts. And I remember the kids complaining about their homework and I could chime right in. I'm like, yeah, me too. It was, okay. It was worth it because of what was discovered with that study.
Okay, well done. Well done. So tell us what you discovered, what you learned the most from your education and your experience.
Yeah. So the first discovery, I mean, they were all so profound in their own way. The first one was originally I was studying something called betrayal and post-traumatic growth. And for those who aren't familiar, post-traumatic growth is, if you can imagine, kind of an upside of trauma, how that trauma, whatever it is, leaves a death of a loved one, disease, natural disaster, leaves you with a new awareness, perspective, insight you didn't have. Maybe you lose someone you love and you realize life is short. Yeah. But I had been through death of a loved one. I'd been through disease. But betrayal felt different for me. I didn't want to assume. So I asked all my study participants and I said, if you've been through other traumas besides betrayal, does it feel different for you? Hands down, unanimously, they said, oh my gosh, it's so different. Here's why. Because it feels so intentional, we take it so personally. Mm-hmm. So the whole self has to be rebuilt because it's all shattered. Rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust, they're all trashed. So it didn't quite qualify as post-traumatic growth. It was like, yes, you're rebuilding your life. You're also rebuilding yourself. So I coined a new term, post-betrayal transformation. So the complete and total rebuild of your life and yourself after an experience of betrayal, you reach that point of post-betrayal transformation. That was the first discovery.
Okay, so the goal of your work is to not only process the betrayal, but to come out better on the other side of it.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was to me, the most exciting discovery. And I'll get to the third one, but the other one, the second one was that while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and so many of us do, if we're going to fully heal to that place of post-betrayal transformation, we're going to go through 5 now proven predictable stages.
Okay.
And what's even more exciting about that is we now know what happens physically, mentally, and emotionally at every one of those stages. And we know what it takes to move from one stage to the next. So now healing is predictable.
Okay. That fascinates me. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I watched your TED Talk, and
Oh,
you had mentioned a few people who took your quiz online have been holding back for 50 years or more
yeah. Yeah.
because they were betrayed and never got through it.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually, and I'm happy to go through the 5 stages if you like. That was the third discovery. We found that there's actually this collection of symptoms, physical, mental, and emotional, so common to betrayal. It's known as post-betrayal syndrome. And we have the quiz on our site to see to what extent someone's struggling. We've had, I don't know, probably 35,000 people who've taken it so far,
Wow.
every age, every demographic. And what's so interesting about it is, of course, we're learning the physical, the mental, and the emotional symptoms that people are struggling with. But there's a question that says, is there anything else you'd like to share? And people write things like, my betrayal happened 40 years ago. I can still feel the hate. My betrayal happened 35 years ago. I'm unwilling to trust again. So we've all heard time heals all wounds. I have the proof that's not true.
Right.
Not when it comes to betrayal. There's a very specific protocol you need to, do to heal. So it'll maybe soften over time, but you do not heal it with time alone.
Okay. And as you're saying that, I can just feel the internal pressure
Mm-hmm.
of holding on to that betrayal
Oh, yeah.
and trying to manage and navigate through life while you're holding on to keeping that well hidden inside.
It shows up in every area of life. It shows up in health and work and relationships. For example, in relationships, I'll see it in one of 2 ways: a repeat betrayal. That's how you know it's unhealed. The faces change, but it's the same thing. And someone says, what the heck? I keep going from friend to friend to friend, partner to partner to partner, boss to boss to boss. Is it me? Yes, it is. It's not that it's your fault. It's that there's a profound lesson you're meant to learn, that you are lovable, worthy, and deserving. You need better boundaries in place, whatever it is. Until and unless you do, you will keep getting opportunities in the form of people to teach you that. Yeah. The other way we see it is people put the big wall up. They're like, nope, been there, done that. No one's getting close to me again. And they think it's from a place coming from a place of strength, and it's not. It's coming from.
Yeah.
So that's in relationships. We see it in health too. People go to the most well-meaning doctors, coaches, healers, therapists to manage a stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. And at the root of it is an unhealed betrayal. We see it at work too. People go, they want to ask for that raise or promotion. They deserve it, but their confidence was shattered in the betrayal. So they don't have the confidence to ask, and they're bitter and resentful instead. Or they want to be a team player, a collaborative partner, but the person they trusted most proved untrustworthy. How do they trust that boss, that coworker, that partner? So it shows up everywhere.
Okay. Okay. Well, how is betrayal different though from other forms of abuse or pain?
Yeah. So, I mean, the way I define it is it's the breaking of a spoken or unspoken rule. And every relationship has them. The way it works is the more you trust and the more you depend on that person, the deeper the betrayal. So, for example, a child who's totally dependent on their parent and the parent does something awful, or family member or whoever, that's going to have a different impact than, let's say, your best friend sharing your secret, your coworker taking credit for your idea. Different level of cleanup needed in the wake. Yeah. So it's the trauma aspect. It's still traumatic, but it's because it feels so intentional and personal. That's really the biggest differentiator between other traumas and betrayal.
Okay. And that's when we get into, why are they doing this to me?
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
And here's the thing, even though, and this is the one of the most important aspects to learn, even though it happened to you, It's not about you. But we feel that it is, you know. The good news is rebuilding. And if you saw, because I shared this in I did 2 TEDx talks, I shared that in that do you have post-betrayal syndrome talk. Rebuilding is always a choice, whether you rebuild yourself and move on. And that's what I did with my family. It just wasn't an option to rebuild with them. Or if the situation lends itself, if you're willing, if you want to, you rebuild something entirely new with the person who hurt you. And that's what I did with my husband. So as 2 totally transformed people, not long ago, we married each other again.
Okay.
New rings, new vows, new dress, and our 4 kids as our bridal party. And the thing is, though, betrayal lends itself to the complete and utter death and destruction of the old. It's been shattered. But with that, you can birth something entirely new.
Okay. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yeah, we can always learn the lesson and grow out of the worst pain that we can experience. So I like that you said that very much. So do you want to go through the 5 stages?
Sure. And they're all, you know, they're all mapped out in Trust again. It's what we teach within the PBT Institute, but I'm going to give them to you here. Ready? A distilled version. So stage 1 was like a setup stage. And I saw this with every study participant, me too. If you can imagine 4 legs of a table, the 4 legs being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And what I saw with everybody was this real heavy lean on the physical and the mental, and kind of ignoring and neglecting the emotional and the spiritual. So what does that look like? It looks like we're really good at thinking and doing, and not really prioritizing the feeling and being. But think about it. If a table has 2 legs, easy for that table to topple over. That's us. Stage 2, by far the scariest of all of the stages. And this is the shock, D-Day, Discovery Day. And it's the breakdown of the body, the mind, the worldview. So you've ignited the stress response. You're headed for every single stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. Your mind is in a complete state of chaos and overwhelm. You cannot wrap your mind around the information you just learned. This makes no sense. And your worldview has just been shattered. Your worldview is your mental model, the rules that prevent chaos, that govern you. Don't go there. This person's safe. This is how it works, you know? And in a moment, it's all been shattered. The bottom has bottomed out, and a new bottom hasn't been formed. So it's terrifying, right? But think about it. If the bottom were to bottom out on you, what would you do? You would grab hold of anything and everything you could to stay safe and stay alive. That's stage 3. Survival instincts emerge. It's the most practical of all of the stages. If you can't help me, get out of my way. How do I survive this experience? Who can I trust? Where do I go? How do I feed my kids? This is the stage we get stuck in. And here's why. Once you've figured out how to survive, because it feels so much better than the shock and trauma of where you just came from, we're like, okay, we think it's good. We have no idea there is a stage 4 and stage 5. Transformation doesn't even begin until stage 4. But because we think this is the end of the road, we start planting roots here. We're not supposed to, but we don't know that. And 4 things happen. The first thing is you start getting these small self benefits. You get your story. You get to be right. You get someone to blame. You get a target for your anger. You get sympathy from everybody you tell your story to, right? You don't have to do the hard work of learning to trust again. Can I trust you? Should I trust you? I forget it. I'm not trusting anybody, right? So you start planting roots. And then because this is where you are longer than you need to be, now the mind starts doing things like, maybe you're not all that. Maybe you deserved it. Maybe this, maybe that. So you plant deeper roots. Now, because of the benefits you're receiving, the thoughts you're thinking, like energy attracts like energy. So now you're attracting people and circumstances and relationships towards you because this is the energy you're sending out. Like the misery loves company crowd, they're coming around right here. Right? And so you plant deeper roots. It gets worse, but I'll get you out of here. Because it feels so bad, but you have no idea there's anything better. You resign yourself. You're like, all right, I better find a way to be okay with this, but I don't like it. So right here is where you start using food, drugs, alcohol, work, TV, keeping busy, right? You do that for a day, a week, a month. Now it's a habit, a year, 10 years, 20 years. And I can see someone 20 years out and say, you know, that emotional eating or that drinking or that numbing in front of the TV, do you think that has anything to do with your betrayal? They'd look at me like I'm crazy. And they would say, that happened 20 years ago. Right? But do you see?
Right.
All they did was put themselves in stage 3 and stay there. That makes sense?
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because they don't think about it. They think it's gone.
They think that's it. Yeah. All they did was lock themselves in stage 3. And that's why October 5th, I'm not sure we're wearing this, but I don't have the cover yet, but this is the book just for stage 3, from hardened to healed. So because I found that trust again maps out the 5 stages, but people are stuck in stage 3 and that's where they stay forever. But
I'm sorry, is that the stage where they run into the repeat betrayals?
100%.
Okay, and because they're running from something and not working to heal it, they were attracted again. Okay,
that's all they keep doing. So they're miserable, and then life is terrible, and I don't feel well, and why does this keep happening to me? And it just gets worse and worse and worse. They're locked in stage 3.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready for stage 4?
Yes.
All right. So if you're willing to let go of the small self benefits and everything you get with it, right? You have to grieve more than the last bunch of things you need to do. You move to stage 4. Stage 4 is finding and adjusting to a new normal. Here's where you acknowledge, I can't undo my experience, but I can control what I do with it. And I always use the example of if you've ever moved to a new house, office, condo, apartment, whatever, all your stuff's not there. It's not quite cozy yet, but it's going to be okay. And when you're in this position, you start turning down the stress response. You're not healing just yet, but you stopped the massive damage you were causing in stages 2 and stage 3. What's really interesting about stage 4 also is if you were to move, you don't take everything with you, right? You don't take the things that don't represent who you want to be once you're in that new place. And what I found was, if your friends weren't there for you, or like the misery loves company crowd, you don't take them with you.
Right.
Right. Here's where you've outgrown them. So people say to me all the time, what the heck? I've had these friends 10, 20, 30 years. Is it me? Yes, it is. You're undergoing a transformation. And if they don't rise, they don't come along.
Right.
So
you know what that sounds like to me too, is when you move, packing is not the most fun thing, but discarding things that no longer serve me.
Exactly. That's it.
Okay. That's stage 4.
That's stage 4.
Okay.
When you're in stage 4, you're making it cozy, you're making it home mentally. You move into the 5th most beautiful stage, and this is healing, rebirth, and a new worldview. The body starts to heal. Self-love, self-care, eating well, exercise. You didn't have the bandwidth for that earlier. Now you do. Your mind is healing. You're making new rules, new boundaries based on what you see so clearly. And you have a new worldview based on the road you just traveled. And the 4 legs of that table, in the beginning, it was the physical and the mental. By this point, we're solidly grounded because we're focused on the emotional and the spiritual too. Those are the 5 stages.
And we're balanced in stage 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when one leg gets taxed, the other ones can still support the table.
That's it. And you really, by stage 5, you have created a new identity. You take the parts you love and you leave behind anything that doesn't serve. And that's why I have yet to meet someone stronger than someone who's healed from betrayal. Because think about it. This was the person, these were the people who gave you a sense of safety and security. And those are the very people to shatter it. So when you rebuild your life and yourself from that, you are a very different person.
Okay. That's awesome. That is so awesome. So I'm curious though, what are the specific symptoms to stage 3?
Stage 3. Well, you know what? Every few months, I pull the stats from the post-betrayal syndrome quiz just to see how people land. Do you want me to share some of them?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So these are physical, mental, and emotional. People take the quiz when they're in stage 2, stage 3, sometimes stage 4, but these are the most common. So for your 35,000 people, 78% constantly revisit their experience. 81% feel a loss of personal power. 80% are hypervigilant. That's exhausting right there. 94% deal with painful triggers. These are the most common physical symptoms. 71% have low energy. 68% have sleep issues. 63% have extreme fatigue. Those are your adrenals crashing right there. 47% have weight changes. So in the beginning, maybe they can't hold food down. Later on, they're using food for comfort. 45% have digestive issues, anything from Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, constipation, diarrhea, you name it. The most common mental symptoms, 78% are overwhelmed, 70% walking around in a state of disbelief, 68% unable to focus, 64% are in shock, 62% are unable to concentrate. So just take that. You can't concentrate, you have a gut issue, you're exhausted, and you're supposed to raise your kids and work and everything.
Right. And not to mention create a joyful life.
That's it. That's why this is what it does. And that's not even the emotional. So emotional, 88% extreme sadness, 83% anger. Bouncing back and forth between those two is lethal right there. 82% feel hurt, 80% have anxiety, 79% are stressed. So here's why I wrote the book, Trust Again. Ready? 84% have an inability to trust. 67% prevent themselves from forming deep relationships because they're afraid of being hurt again. 82% find it hard to move forward. 90% want to move forward, but they don't know how. Yeah.
I'm tired just listening to that.
Right? That's what goes on. The good news is you could heal from all of it. That's all we do within the PBT Institute. You know, now it's like they're coming in with symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, moving through the 5 stages and leaving at that place of post-betrayal transformation.
Okay. Wow. That's really informative and quite frightening, to be honest with you. I mean, because betrayal tends to be a part of the human experience. So if people are carrying around that much baggage every day, then I understand why the world is in such turmoil.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And people feel so stuck.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, that's why I wrote, you know, From Hardened to Healed. I was like, wait a second, staying stuck is now a choice. There's a roadmap. There's a roadmap. But we get so rooted in that stage 3 and we have no idea there's a stage 4 and stage 5. So staying stuck in that stage 3 truly is a choice. There were 3 groups in the study who didn't heal. And I can share that. The first was that group that was numbing, avoiding, distracting. So they ran to the doctor who put them on mood stabilizer or anti-anxiety medication, or maybe they started drinking, emotional eating, and maybe it made the day a bit easier to get through, not without a price. They didn't heal. The second group was the group, they just refused to accept their betrayal. They were like, nope, I'm hanging on to my story. That's it. And the third group, this was the group where the betrayer had very little consequences. So whether it was out of financial fear, not wanting to break up a family, religious reasons, that was a big one, fear of the unknown, they just tried to turn the other cheek, tried to put it behind them. I saw 2 things with this group. The first was a further deterioration of the relationship. And the second was that group was the most physically sick. Your broken heart can't handle that.
Right.
But people are so afraid of that death and destruction of the old. But it's only when you destroy it can you build something new.
Yes, yes. And when with the group that wanted to move forward but didn't know how, would you consider that the group of people who are reluctant to go to therapy?
Well, here's
it's for crazy people.
Well, not even that. And we have a lot of people coming into the Institute with therapy trauma. If that therapist isn't highly skilled in betrayal, it does more harm than good.
Okay.
And so, and that's why, I mean, we certify our coaches and practitioners so they can predictably move someone through the 5 stages, because that's how you heal. But a lot of people, they think therapy is the only option. Here's the thing, even if it's a very good therapist, and there are many really good therapists, that's only hitting it at the cognitive level.
Okay.
Betrayal hits us. You saw from the stats I shared, it hits us physically, mentally, and emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. So when we only address healing at one level, it's still there. You know, you may have heard the issues are in the tissues. Like, we need to get this out from every level. We cannot just address it in one way. It doesn't work.
Okay. Okay. So can you just give us an overview of what the process is like at the Institute?
Yeah, sure. So we have all kinds of levels of membership just based on what someone's ready for. But we have our signature programs which literally walk you through the 5 stages, totally self-paced. That just, everybody has 24/7 access to that. Okay. We have live daily classes with our certified coaches, and our coaches are all coaches and practitioners, are all certified in the 5 stages, but they each hold a specialty, anything having to do with helping someone heal. So we have coaches who specialize in narcissism, in divorce, in reconciliation, in forgiveness, in addiction, in chronic pain, in health, so members can just binge watch, live or recorded classes. I'm in there doing Q&A. We bring in experts to teach master classes, and we have the most amazing forums. I found when it comes to betrayal, there are a lot of support groups. And a lot of them, it's like when you heal, you don't belong. It's like the Ain't It Awful Club. Like someone's like, this happened to me. And they're like, you think that's bad? This is what happened to me. That doesn't help you. So, ours is all to lift and inspire. And It's interesting because I'll see it on my Q&As with everybody. Someone will share something. And then we have other members who are like, you didn't sound like that a couple of weeks ago. What'd you do? What worked? Share with us, help, so it's a very inclusive, forward-moving, institute. And I used to say, we're only open a little over a year, but I used to say it's for people who've been betrayed by a family member, partner, friend. Now it's different. Now I changed it. It's for people who are ready to heal from that betrayal, because so many people, it's like, nope, like they have their story, they're sticking with it, and sticking to it. That's not our group.
Okay. So when someone works successfully through the 5 stages, then what?
Yeah, that's when they have it is a new identity. That's when they're ready for that new relationship, that new body, that new business, that new life. I see it all the time. People go through the healing, and then it's like, wow, I did that. What else can I do? That's the most exciting time ever, because it's transformation's real, and things that they never would have even considered. We've had people start new businesses, new relationships. They've moved and started a whole new life. It's truly a very exciting next chapter. Or it could be a total new next chapter with that person who hurt them, like what I did. Because as 2 totally transformed people, when you come back at that level, it's an entirely new relationship. Or I never would have done it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it sounds amazing. And I love the transformative piece of it, because why go through this process and you're not better?
Well, not even that. It's like, even my own experience, I'm like, and I didn't do anything anybody else couldn't do. I said, well, okay, all the people that I was counting on, they all betrayed me. So I'm either the poster child for betrayal, or I can do something really good with this. And if I do, I'm taking everybody with me. That's it.
Well, I am thankful that you are doing it and are taking everyone with you. I mean, gosh, this is great stuff.
Thank you.
Please tell us how anyone can connect with the Institute, buy your book, support you, get involved.
Yeah, thank you. So everybody should take the post-betrayal syndrome quiz to see to what extent they're struggling. They can just find that at the PBT, as in post-betrayal transformation, thepbtinstitute.com/quiz. And for Trust Again, the new book is coming out, but for Trust Again, which literally walks you through the 5 stages, our 4-step trust rebuilding process, everything's in there. You can get it from Amazon, but get it from this link, because I have all kinds of goodies for you too. And to find that, you go to thepbtinstitute.com/Trust Again. Okay.
I'll put that in the caption, just so people can see it and can access it right away. I love your work. I love what you're doing, and I'm excited about what I learned today.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much. And I mean, because of you and people like you, the world, I'm convinced, will be a better place soon.
Thank you. I'm just doing something good with something bad, and now everybody can do the same thing.
Yes. Thank you for showing us how.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you again for tuning in to the Glen Alex Show. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Refresh your spirit with a nourishing thought.
Please allow me to leave you with this nourishing thought from Living in Total Health, the Relating Well chapter. Healthy relationships have a very specific theme, an underlying current of mutual respect and nurturing that forms the foundation of all interactions. As social creatures, relationships are essential to the human experience, and it is the healthy relationships that will enhance your life experience and well-being. Unhealthy and toxic relationships, on the other hand, will damage you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and undermine your best self. I'm talking about adult relationships, romantic, friendships, family, coworkers, etc. So please make sure that you follow the number one rule for healthy relationships to discern who to keep close and who to keep at a distance, because your health does depend on it. To learn more about the number one rule for healthy relationships, please read my blog on glenalex.com. And until next time.